Lost in the shadows too. Isaac had always been a troubled soul. Growing up in a broken home, he turned to a life of crime and eventually landed in prison. But while behind bars, Isaac found solace in religion and made the decision to turn his life around. Upon his release, Isaac was determined to make a fresh start. He reconnected with his faith and worked hard to get his life back on track. He found a job, made new friends, and started to rebuild his relationships with his family. However, old habits die hard. Isaac's past caught up with him one day when his old friend, who was still deeply involved in a life of crime, contacted him. The friend convinced Isaac to join him on a dangerous mission. Isaac was torn. On one hand, he didn't want to go back to his old ways. On the other hand, the pull of the thrill and the camaraderie of the criminal life was hard to resist. In the end, Isaac gave in to temptation and joined his friend. The mission was a disaster. Isaac and his friend were caught and sent back to prison. Isaac was devastated. He realized that he had thrown away everything he had worked so hard for and that he had let down everyone who cared about him. In prison, Isaac turned back to his faith for strength and guidance. He realized that he had to take full responsibility for his actions and that he needed to make amends for the harm he had caused. He worked hard to better himself, and when he was released, he was determined to live a life that was true to his values. Isaac made a promise to himself to never look back to his wayward life again. He is determined to live a life that is true to himself, his faith, and the people who care about him. He is walking in the path of righteousness, leaving the shadows behind. As Isaac lay in his prison cell, reflecting on his past mistakes, he couldn't help but feel a sense of hopelessness wash over him. He couldn't believe that he had let himself fall so far. He closed his eyes, wishing with all his might that everything was just a nightmare and that he would wake up to a different reality. And then, as if by magic, everything around him began to fade away. The prison walls, the bars, the other inmates all disappeared into the ether. He opened his eyes to find himself back in his own bed, in his own room. He looked around in confusion, wondering if it was all just a dream. Isaac shook his head and got up from his bed. He looked out of his window and saw the sun shining, birds singing, and people going about their day. He took a deep breath and smiled, feeling a sense of peace and gratitude wash over him. He knew that he had been given a second chance, a chance to make things right. He got dressed and went downstairs to find his family gathered around the table, enjoying breakfast together. They all looked up and smiled at him as he entered the room. "Good morning, Isaac," they said in unison. Isaac smiled back at them, feeling a sense of warmth and belonging. He knew that he had been blessed with a loving family and that he had a chance to make things right with them. He sat down at the table and joined them for breakfast, feeling grateful for this new day and this new chance to live his life the right way. Isaac woke up to a new day with a new mindset. He was determined to make the best of it and to live his life in a way that would make him, his family, and his God proud. He knew that it would not be easy, but he was ready to face any challenge that came his way with the strength and guidance of his faith. He was ready to leave the shadows behind and to step into the light. Don't forget, no matter what comes across your way, always be bold and stand out. I am your friend Clement. You can reach me for any questions, promotion or support on olurantiprofile@gmail.com. See you again.